All right, everyone. Welcome to the MMAOB Daily Podcast. It is Monday, October 3rd, 2022. I am the host, as always, Adam Martin, joined my co host here Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, man, how's it going?
All going good, man. Yeah, uh, kind of busy weekend with sports, so that's always good. And
Yep.
we're now at Monday, another week without UFC after 2 weeks ago as well. I'm not a big fan of that, to be really honest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. Got some cage warriors going on Friday, so it's in Italy, so that's early. So I don't know. I have to check if there are any other things, but I'll definitely watch some MMA this weekend, but not UFC, unfortunately.
That's the only one, really. This is like another slow week in MMA, kind of, Marcel. Kind of surprised. Like, wouldn't it have made more sense for like Bellator just saying like to do their show this Saturday? When there wasn't a UFC, instead of going
Yeah.
head to head, which we'll talk about too. We'll talk about Bellator and UFC today in the podcast. Gonna recap those. I'm with you though, man. These weeks where there's nothing, because really there is only that Cage Warriors card. I looked today, Marcel. There's not much.
Yeah,
Um, Go
I
ahead.
mean, I never understand when people say like, "Oh my God, there are too many UFC cards." I'm like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I enjoy fights, and it doesn't have to be like all like how do you say that high level stuff. You can have a less great card and still have some fun fights on it. You know what I mean? So I don't mind, but yeah, maybe it was better for Zuckerberg to get this week to the Apex and not bothering people instead of last week. But hey, whatever.
For sure. We got our boy Joe in the chat. What's up, man? How's it going? Glad to have you here, buddy. Yeah. Anyways, let's get into UFC Vegas 61 more. So I say we start recapping this card, which obviously took place last Saturday, guys. We got Glenn in the chat. We got JPH in the chat. Glad to have all you guys here today on Monday evening for the UFC Vegas 61 recap. All right, Marcel, let's get into it. Let's start with the main event.
Mhm.
Janan wins the majority decision over Mackenzie Dern, 48-47 times two, and then 47-47. So it was obviously a really close fight. We have to start before we get into the fight and what happens next for these ladies. Let's talk about the scoring, and how you scored the fight and how I scored the fight. I have no idea who scored the fight. I don't know if you tweeted it. I didn't look. I didn't see it. I should say. Uh, I had it 47-47, guys. I think it was a draw. That's the way I scored the fight. So obviously, first round Yan, second round Dern. That second round, I know some people scored that 10-8. That is, it's it's borderline kind of, but to me it was still a 10-9. Third and fourth, obviously Yan 10-9. But I think that fifth round, I really do think that's a 10-8 round. In my opinion, that's a 10 round because I think she had dominance, duration, and damage in that round. Because yes, significant strikes wise, she only landed four. I mean, you look at that, it's not good. But if you look at the row over, 97 total strikes landed. Like a lot of them were like the little shots, but those do add up. 4.5 minutes of control on the ground. To me, that's more closer to a 10-8. I just want to hear your thoughts on that, Marcel. Did you give it 10-8 or no?
That's just. I'll give my complete scoring of the fight. First round clear 10-8, 10-9 for Yan Xiaonan. Third round clear 10-9 Yan Xiaonan. Fourth round clear 10-9 Yan Xiaonan. But that wasn't the problem. The rounds weren't the problem. It were the Dern rounds. The second round Dern came really close to an arm triangle choke finish.
Mm-hmm.
And she was dominant that round as well. Can you give it 10-8 round? You can. I gave it a 10-9 personally, but you can give it a 10-8 round. I wouldn't complain if you would. Fifth round, I think Dern was very dominant, landed punches, was looking for the finish, didn't get the finish. For me, it's 10-8 round. So we're
Yep.
going to either 47-47, you can even go 40, 46, 40, 40 47, 46 for Dern. And if you don't want to score 10-8 rounds, you can go 48-47 for Young. So there are three options, and
Mm-hmm.
which one is the best one? I think the 47-47 one is the best one, in my opinion. But listen, man, if Young got the fight, you wouldn't hear me complain, which
Mm-hmm.
he does. If Dern got the fight, I think many people would have complained because of the two 10-8 rounds. But I think those were possible. So it was a super close fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Although it looked like that Jan was more in charge of the fight than Dern actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Although Dern had a likely like the same round against Marina Rodriguez in the second round. Remember in
Mm-hmm.
her fight, but Marina was better in the other rounds. But I got to give credit to Jan, Adam. I mean, um, I
Yep.
thought before, if Dern gets Jan to the ground, thought it would be over. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And Jan, she's maybe not that great on the ground, but she defended very well. And Jan said afterwards, "I'm a white belt," so that makes it even more impressive. So I don't overrated Dern, but I underrated Jan in this fight.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I agree with everything you said, Marcel. I think you laid it out really well. Man, I just think if you look back, like if you look at this fight, it just kind of highlights the problem with the scoring system in MMA, in my opinion, guys. Like because you have Yan winning 3, clear but close rounds, basically. She won like the round, but it wasn't like a dominant round. Then you have Mackenzie Dern winning, at least 1, if not 2, borderline dominant rounds, and still losing the fight. That's the problem here. So it is what it is. I don't think 48-47 is like a horrible scorecard by any means. I don't think it is. I just think that if you look back at this fight and like, what do you think is a fair scorecard and representation of what the fight was? I think a draw is more fair. That's just my opinion. So actually kind of glad, Marcel, you're with me on that. I had no idea how you did score it. Get some comments in the chat here. Hey, Marcus, what's up, man? I had Jan and Dur as a draw. See, he had the same thing as us. Draw. Jan got away with grabbing Durn's glove. I saw some people saying that. I didn't notice it. I mean, I maybe there's a video of it happening. I didn't notice it. I guess you did, Marcel, maybe? I don't know if you heard
In the
about it.
5th round, I think the ref said something
Yes.
about it, but it's like if pretty much if the fighter doesn't complain about it, we pretty much don't see it. Let's be honest,
Mhm.
because I'm not focused on that part. I'm focused on other stuff like positioning, what they're doing. So maybe we should focus a little bit more on it. I don't know, but I wasn't focused on it until the ref said something about it in the 5th round. Yeah, but yeah, the thing is it's like what Mike Heck said on Twitter: cheat if you can cheat, because
Oh, for sure. If they don't take a point, then why not cheat? Like Randy Brown, too. We'll talk about it in a second.
yeah.
He had a really egregious fence grab, like it's so
Mm.
obvious. What's up, Hype? He's asking thoughts on AJ at lightweight. Oh, he's AJ Keith. We're gonna talk about Bellator for a few minutes, man. We're just gonna go through UFC first, then we'll go through Bellator. Anyways, as far as what's next for them, I mean, Jan's probably a win away for a title shot now, just in this division. Would you say, Marcel? Like one more win?
There are many options. You can either do against Lemos if she either loses or wins against Marina. I don't need to see the Marina rematch at this moment. But you have Jessica Andrade also in the division.
Right.
So you can give her one more fight, and if she wins that fight, she's next. I think Marina, if she wins against Lemos, she's next for sure. So yeah.
I mean, Rose is out there too, right? Like
she's there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for Dern, I mean, I don't think it's like the worst loss in the world, And honestly, Marcel, like, I don't think she beat Tisha in her last fight. So it's kind of like things even up, like it kind of evened up for her a little bit here. Like, she got a win that she probably didn't deserve. Now she's kind of got a loss that she probably shouldn't have. Should probably be a draw. Anyways, I still think Dern will, have a good career, but obviously he's got really drilled at wrestling, Marcel, because she can pull guard all she wants, but like if it doesn't work, then she's kind of screwed, right? So she's got to work on that. All right, let's get to work.
I wonder who they're gonna match up Dern with. I think.
It's a good
think
question,
somebody
right?
I think somebody she can get a win against, but
Like Michelle Watterson Gomez. Like you think
makes sense. Makes
she
sense.
beats her, and it's a marketable fight.
Yeah,
say that.
definitely. That
Right?
that will be a main event for sure.
You know what? I think I just called it, right? I think that fight's happening.
You called it again, just like Bo Nickel against Jamie.
Bo Nickel and Jamie Pickett, right? That was a good call, wasn't it, guys? Last week, I knew it. That's it. No, I'm kidding. I didn't have any inside information as guest. What's up, girl? How's it going, man? Zach about Tapuria still fighting. I mean, I hope so. Hopefully, he fights Sodiq Yusuff because he didn't take any damage. You have any intel on that?
I saw a website. I don't know who it was anymore, but I heard that as well, that they want him as a backup for Calvin Kattar against Arnold Allen and for Mopsa Evloev against Bryce Mitchell on both fight night cards. So
fair enough. What's up, Forward to Win? How's it going, man? Glad to have you here, buddy. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't attend another UFC event, and fans and family can attend. Yeah, that whole situation is so weird. And Dana's saying like, oh, like he did not rent the arena. Like maybe technically Dana was the one who didn't want the fans there. I have no idea, man. It's just weird.
Adam.
What?
I wouldn't be surprised if they how do you say that? If they ask him to come, and he's or they invited him, and he's like, yeah, cool, but then I just don't want anybody in the audience, So they're like, okay,
that's so mean.
Yeah, well, let's do that. And then somebody says like he rented it out, so he didn't rent it out. So Dana's like, no, that's bullshit. That's not true.
Right.
Right.
So
yeah, it's just, I mean, there were people asking me like, wouldn't you do that if you had so much money? I was like, no, man. Why? I'm not. I'm like, I can watch with other people. If I want to be in the arena.
So I was talking to my friend about this, right? And he's like, "Yo, is that Mark Zuckerberg?" He's like, "Man, he just got fuck you money." I was like, "Yeah, he does." Yeah, my buddy was saying like, "Oh, like imagine being like that rich and being like sitting beside the cage and being like, my peasants, let me watch you fight." He's like the guy in Gladiators, like with the thumbs down.
You know what's funny? He comes in the arena at the moment. Oleinik is fighting Latifi.
I know
which
that fight
probably
was so
worst
shit.
fight.
Oh god, that
Yeah.
fight was horrible. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, I think we're good with the main event. Co-main event, we'll go to that. Marcel, Randy Brown wins the decision. I was really confident Randy Brown to win this fight. Man, I was like nervous about this decision. I'm not gonna lie. I think this was a very close fight. Obviously, Randy Brown won the first round. Third round, Trinaldo obviously won. The second round was very close in my opinion. Like I really thought it was going to be a split decision. Like I thought it was going to go either way. Randy Brown got the unanimous decision. I don't have a problem with it. Obviously, I picked him. I was hoping he was going to win, but I thought this fight could have went either way, man. Honestly, any thoughts on this one, man?
Yeah, man. Randy said after the fight this was his best performance. I was like, dude, I saw better performances of you, you know. And we all know Trinaldo is super tough, you know. Even at 44, dude, it's almost impossible to finish.
Yep.
And I think Randy did very well in the first round, keeping his distance, picking his shots, you know. But at a certain moment, Randy got kind of tired, you know, and Trinaldo putting on the heat on him. Yeah, and I feel like this could have been to Trinaldo because the second round was kind of 50-50. And I think Randy Brown might be lucky that he didn't get a point deducted in the first round because he would be fucked. Would have been a draw if that would have happened. So and maybe even wouldn't have been a draw, you know. You don't know what Trinaldo would have done with him on the ground, you know, in the first round. So it's like I think listen, man. You know, I'm kind of high on Randy Brown. I think he's a great fighter. You know, he's still young. He's coming into his early 30s. I think or is he 30 already? 30, 31?
I think he's born in 1990s, so 30.
Yeah, but he's coming into his prime right now, and I think I want to see him fight somebody higher right now. So a guy like. Listen, you know what a good fight for him is? The winner of Salikov against Fialho, I think. I think that would be a good fight, you know. Or even, I think they don't want to give him Pereira because Pereira deserves somebody maybe higher in the rankings. But I would feel like Fialho against Salikov, one of those two would be fun, you know. And I feel like Randy Brown has a lot of potential, but at a certain moment in that fight, I was like, dude, be happy it's over because Trinaldo was coming back, and for a guy 44 years old, I respect that a lot, you know.
If the fight was 5 rounds, he probably would have lost.
Yeah,
I can't believe how tired he got, but yeah, again, I was really confident he was going to get the win, and he got the job done, Marcel. But that second round was kind of a sweat, man. I really think it could have gone either way, guys.
I also
go ahead.
100% expected a judge giving it to Trinaldo.
Right, I thought for sure it was going to split at the bell. I was looking at the odds at the bell, and Brown was like. It was basically a pick 'em at the bell. Like they didn't know who was going to win. So Dern's issue is there no. Hey, Andrew, what's up? No one blower that she hasn't fought makes sense. I think Michelle Waterson Gomez, right? Like, I think that fight makes sense, guys. Like it's a very marketable fight. Marcus thinks. I think Zuckerberg asked for no fans. I don't see Dana doing that. Yeah, exactly. Why would Dana likes the fans? That's there's a reason. There's a business because of the fans. Rayans, Fred Kevin, Snell reminded me of y'all's against the Jacare. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the judges have to. The ref has to take a point for that one. Like that's if it stops the takedown, you either have to take a point or you give them that position. You could have been like, you know what, you're going on the ground because you grabbed it, right?
I give both. I take a point and I give the ground position.
Oh, you could do both. I think they like that. You got to take a point for that. You know, not in my opinion. What's up, John? Me too, man. I was surprised too. I'm not gonna lie. It was more of a sweat than it should have been. I started to read about JDM. Who's JDM?
Jack Della Maddalena.
Oh yeah. Who anywhere you turn down?
No, I talked to Tim Simpson about it, and he's like, I'm not going to name and shame, but there were 4 fighters. We all 4 agreed to fight, and all 4 turned him down. So it's like,
that's lame. I really like Jack Della Maddalena, man. That last fight against Ramzan, that was. I'm sure Dana White. I'm sure the matchmakers were happy that they knocked out Ramzan. They could cut his contract. I don't think they liked his style.
No. He's like that super tough guy that never gets a finish but always wins a decision, right? So
like knocks your prospects off, exactly. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one here. Xiaonan Barcelona defeats Trevor Jones. Did I not tell you, Marcel? Like I the biggest reason I had to pick Barcelona is because Jones does not throw enough strikes. Like the guy just stands there and doesn't do anything. I don't get it, man. What happened to this guy last year? or 2 years ago, he had that crazy fight with Valley. And then last year, he knocked out Batista.
Yeah.
And since then, I know he's fought in competition. Let's be fair. Kakramanov, Basharat, Barcel's very good, but just didn't do much in those fights. And this fight was the worst of the three. Got destroyed. One judge gave me 30-25. I had 30-26, but I don't hate 30-25. It was complete domination. What happened to this guy, Marcel? What happened to Tony Jones?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like, I picked Jones first round knockout. I took a gamble here, and I knew if the fight was going to go longer, Barcelos probably would have won. But sometimes you have to take a gamble, right? And Barcelos was very competitive in his last two fights, didn't get the win. And actually, Jones wasn't, against Kakramanov. That was a very short notice fight for Kakramanov, and he got submitted in that fight. And Basharat was also not that great. So the thing is with Jones, I think he got the knockout power, but that has to let his hands go, what you say, and he doesn't for some reason. You saw them against Bautista, he knocked him out. And Valiev, I still have a bad thing about that fight because I think Toyoni was an idiot in that fight. Yeah, I don't know what happened, he lost now 3 straight, and I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC doesn't give him another fight again, because in those fights, he didn't look good at all, and Barcelos was just a step ahead of him. He was quicker than him, was better on the ground, which we all expected he would have been, but also the stand-up. I mean, Jones couldn't even touch him, in my opinion, so... clear win for Barcelos, and I'm happy. Barcelos is a great fighter. I kind of was like, I don't know if this fight, but he clearly won, and he looked really good. And I hope he can get back around top 15, because I think he's a good fighter. But like I said to you last week, man, UFC should have contracted the dude earlier and not as late in his career right now. Because I remember he was the RFA champion back in the day. He was super solid, and the UFC let him hang for 2-3 years until they signed him or something. I don't know why. And he's a fun fighter. He always brings the fight. He always shows up, even in his losses in the UFC against Valiev and against Henry. Great fights. I love the guy. I hope we see him again soon.
Agree completely. Just a couple of comments. He really did, John, didn't he? Didn't he look phenomenal? This is one of his better performances, I think. I mean, the guy's really good. There's no doubt about it. Any word on when Christian Liz fell through? Lins wasn't cleared. I guess he was injured or something. This is not the first time this has happened to this guy, Marcel. Like, a few times now. Go ahead.
And I feel like that there was an issue, and they tried to get extra time for it. So there was on the prelims first. They put it on the main card 1 hour before the start of the event, and they tried to still make that fight happen. They were so smart to put the main card fight to the prelims, which happened to be the fight of the night. Very good decision, UFC again. It sucks, that the thing happens.
Yeah, I'll talk about that fight in a minute. Let's go to the next one. Sodiq Yusuff defeats Don Shainis. No surprise he won, but man, was not expecting a 30-second submission. Very impressive. He looked amazing. Those knees from the clinch were just brutal. Like, if he didn't submit, we would have knocked him out, obviously. Like, the fight was a mismatch, Marcel. Like, I'm glad for Sodiq because he kind of got screwed with Giga pulling out of that fight and, didn't have an opponent lined up. No one wanted to fight him in the top 15, so he takes a short notice gamble. Because you never know. It's MMA, right? He could have got clipped and knocked out, and everyone would have said this guy's terrible and sucks. But he goes in there and just handles business, and it makes it, quite frankly, Marcel, probably the easiest win bonus he'll ever get in his career. I think that's why he didn't get a bonus, because UFC's like, you know what? This fight was way too easy. Like, we can't give you an extra $50K on top of it. It was just too easy of a fight. Anyways, he looked great. And he wants to fight Korean Zombie, so what do you think?
I like the rebooking with Chikatsu, honestly, but the Zombie is okay with me as well. Listen, man, this is almost like Luis Smolka, who is close to a title shot, taking the fight against Brandon Moreno and gets submitted, against, at that moment, Brandon Moreno not even in top 15, making his debut coming off the Ultimate Fighter. Benil Dariush getting knocked out by Alexander Hernandez. Nobody expected that pretty much. Yeah, maybe somebody did, but I didn't. And now Sodiq, gotta give credit to Sodiq, man. He takes the fight against Don Shainis, but the only way he could impress in this fight was to finish him early, because Don Shainis, I know he's not a bad fighter, but he comes from outside the UFC. He's pretty unknown to many people. He comes to the UFC. Don Shainis had everything to win in this fight, and Sodiq Yusuff had everything to lose in this fight.
Exactly.
What did he do? He submitted him, first ever submission in his pro career. After 30 seconds, beautiful tie clinch with the knees. Shainis went for a takedown. He got caught with a guillotine choke. perfect way for Sodiq Yusuff to win this fight, man. I mean, this is pretty much, if you want to show the people that you belong in the top 15 and you're an elite fighter, and somebody comes in from outside the organization on short notice, taking that fight, and you win like this, I mean, that's impressive, and not many people do that. Sometimes you see they still struggle with these new guys, and
Right.
he didn't. So a lot of credit to Sodiq Yusuff here.
Yeah, he looked amazing. There's no doubt about it. Again, it was a quick fight, but he looked great. Mike Davis defeats Slava. They call him Burshov now. Like, what's with the pronunciation?
I say
Changed,
Borchev.
That's what I thought, and then they changed it up on the broadcast. I'm gonna call him Slava Claus here.
I mean, they also say Manon Fio, so
that's true. I don't know. Anyways, Mike Davis looked pretty good. I think Slava looked pretty good at times too on the feet, right? Like his striking actually was giving Mike Davis problems, but Mike Marcel, he's got no takedown defense. Like it's just terrible. Like the last two fights, he's been taken down 20 times, guys. 20 times.
He's one of these rare Russians that can't wrestle,
Can't wrestle at all, man.
It's like
20 takedowns, guys, in the last two fights. It's just, you know what? He won't win too many fights at the UFC level, man, unless he knocks you out quickly. Because he'll just get taken down as the fight goes on, right? It's disappointing. He's such a fun guy to watch. He's a nice guy and everything, but just can't stop that takedown. Any quick thoughts on this fight? And also that 29-28, I hate that score.
What the hell, yeah.
You're a garbage scorecard. I think 30-26 is good. There was a 10-8 round there.
That's on my Dutch, on the website Eurosport, the Dutch article, I wrote Slava Claus and the blueprint part 2. It's like, listen, Mark Davis at least made it a more funner fight than Mark Diakese did last time, But it's like he really has, and I don't dislike the dude, don't get me wrong, but he has a bad ground game. He can't hang with these guys on the ground at all, doesn't know what to do, and he's lost. If he's on the ground, he's lost. You see that with some fighters. He is lost when he's on the ground. And Mike Davis started with striking, did very beautiful in the first round, I think, with striking. At a certain moment, he had to think, like, I can take this guy down really easy. I'm going to do more ground game, So Mike Davis, 1.5 years away from the octagon, needed a win here. I still think he looked good, But, he fought in great fights. Remember, before against Mason Jones, he completely dominated Thomas Gifford. I remember the Gilbert Burns wasn't a bad fight, but it was a short notice fight and it was a weight class up. And who doesn't remember the Contender Series fight against Sodiq Yusuff? Both guys brought that up, that it was the best fight in Contender Series history. And I tend to agree with that, at least top 3, I'm high on Mike Davis, but he should fight more often, And I think it was a good fight of his. And he clearly won the fight. And the judge will give it 29-28. Get the fuck out,
Terrible scorecard. Like, go on. Fight was a completely one-sided fight for the most part.
Yeah.
All right. Your fight, well, I mean, it was definitely fight tonight, but I think you were saying this is going to be a good one too, right? And remember I said, last week, guys, I was like, okay, it's kind of weird they're matching up a guy with 2 straight wins against a guy with a loss. Like, whenever that happens, Marcel, it makes me think, are they seeing something we don't? And obviously, they did here. Man, what a fight. First off, amazing fight. Daniel Santos defeats John Castaneda, second round knockout. Just an amazing fight. First round, I mean, listen, it was dominant first round. Was it 10-8? I can't remember. Probably not, I guess, but it could have been. I mean, it was pretty dominant. He rocked him and knocked him down. It was just brutal. Looked like Castaneda was going to win, and then just kind of got tired. And Santos, I don't think he's ever been finished before, Marcel, and it just came on strong. And then he had just an absolutely dominant second round. Finishes the fight late in the second with the knees in the clinch. My God, what a fight, guys! This was an amazing fight. Love this fight, Marcel. So much fun to watch for us. Both these guys got a lot of brain damage in this one. Brain trauma, excuse me. But, this was a brutal fight, man. Give me your thoughts on this one, man, because there's multiple times in that first round where I'm like, okay, Santos is getting knocked out. And then he did it, and then he came back and won. So what do you think, man?
Yeah, man, I think Castaneda started really well, but we also have to take a mention, this fight was changed from a bantamweight fight to a catchweight fight of 140 pounds. So one of the two probably had a problem with the weight cut. That's what I think, you know. And I tend to feel it's probably Castaneda,
You think so?
So, yeah, he had it before, not in the UFC.
And he got tired in the fight, too, so probably, right? Yeah,
so exactly. Yeah. And the first round was really good. I think he gave it all in the first round. He didn't get him out, And Santos, good chin, got through. And we saw vintage Santos, man, in the second round, very aggressive. And man, the brutal knee he knocked him out with, dude. I mean, shoot the box guy. I as well. He had some spectacular finish before he came in the UFC. Had the debut against Julio Arce. Arce, pretty dominant win, but still, I thought it was a fun fight, and I'm happy for Willie Cat Santos that he gets his first win in the UFC because I think he's a fun prospect, and this is a big win against Castaneda, man. I mean, Castaneda had a win over Wineland, but more impressively over Miles Johnson, a stoppage win last time, So yeah, good win for Willie Cat.
Yeah, it was. It was such a great fight, guys. Wasn't it awesome? Let's get some comments. Santos chin is made steel, dude. I mean, I can't believe he didn't get knocked. There was one time where he like wobbled his head, like he looked like he was completely done. Whenever a guy does that, like usually it's over. The head kick was crazy. That he ate that flush, man. Unbelievable, eh? Great fight. Santos, fun fighter to watch. Incredible. Castaneda. Oh, bronchitis. That's what you guys are saying. Hey guys, what's up in the chat? I didn't see that. That's interesting. I mean, that makes sense, right? That's definitely why he got tired.
I don't know.
Gas tank failing. I thought he was training with those guys at Greg Nelson. Those guys.
I want to know. They switched that fight to prelims with Lins and Grecian. Which fight would have you changed? Not knowing the outcomes of the fight, obviously, but if you
take
had to
it off the main card.
Yeah, they wanted to change it probably because of that medical issue with Lins, so they could fight that fight. Which fight would you have changed with the Lins Grecian to the main card?
They probably, honestly, they probably chose the right one just based on what the guys have done in the UFC, I guess. But
yeah, that's unfortunate, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, it was an amazing fight.
Yeah.
Something else. Yeah. It was a crazy fight. All right, let's go to the next one here. The complete opposite. This fight sucked, guys.
God,
this fight was terrible. Latifi wins the decision, but my God, what a bad fight. Oleinik just is. I know he beat Van Der in his last fight, but guys, he's really over the hill in my opinion. Like this was such a bad performance by Oleinik in my opinion. Not like Latifi did much better. Then Latifi goes and says, "Hey guys, I have staph infection and I'm sick and I have a fever." Like he just rolled around with some dude for 50 minutes. Arsenal, I hated this fight so much. It was so bad. Just give me your thoughts, man.
Yeah, we knew it pretty much on forehand, right? I think we both said it. And people literally on all of my tweets, I think I got like 50, 60 tweets from people like, why is this fight not on the main card? The disrespect. I didn't reply to it. I tweeted during that fight, like, here is your why it's not on the main card, That's no disrespect, but either Latifi, we all know he likes to wrestle people, not a lot happening, Oleinik, if he doesn't get that Ezekiel choke or whatever, or crazy other chokes, a can opener or whatever he tries always, he's also not finishing the fight. Mm-hmm. So it's like pretty much a stalemate. And it's who is on top. And Ilir was on top most of the times. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why the UFC was so they had to rebook this fight 3 times. I mean, why? Why they were so wanted this fight happen.
It was so bad, man. I was pulling my hair watching this fight, guys. I was just like, why is this so bad?
You probably had a good grip, dude. If you have to pull your hair.
Yeah, I don't have any hair.
Yeah, that's very short.
I know. All right, let's go to the next one here. Joaquin Silva knocks out Jesse Ronson with a flying knee. I mean, what a knockout, eh? Just incredible. I think Ronson was looking so good in that first round until the last 10 seconds and then lost it. Or last minute, I should say.
I was thinking about you.
Right. Yeah, right? Like, he was looking really good, and then he gets dropped, kind of. They didn't count as a knockdown, but it seemed like a drop. And then second round, he lands the same thing, that flying knee. I mean, amazing knockout. I'm glad that Silva. By the way, I like how they did the bonuses. I know Yusuff didn't get one, but I'm glad they gave out extra bonuses to the guys in the prelims because these guys, they need it more than anyone. These prelim fighters, right? So this was a good win for him. Joaquin Silva, 5-4 now in the UFC. Marcel, 5-3, excuse me. Likely saved his job, and then Ronson 0-5-1 no contest. He's definitely getting cut.
It's like almost like. Who has the worst record in the UFC? I think Alvis Sinisic with 1-8-0 or something.
But I mean, 0-5-1 is not good though,
No, it's definitely not, and it's not like. And the crazy thing is, like we said last week, he has 3 split decisions in the first split decision losses in his first 3 fights. The Dolby fight got overturned
Yep.
by USADA. Yeah, what can we say? He looked good early, like you said, and I was like, yeah, Adam might have a right read on this one,
Yep.
And then I always say Neto BJJ with Joaquim Silva because that's anywhere that's his handle. Joaquim Silva, yeah, he rocked him. He pretty much knocked him down at the end of the first round, I think, and he stole the round with that pretty much. I think, second round, Silva finished him. I was like, kind of not surprised that Silva won, but the way it went, I didn't expect that Ronson to look so good in the first round,
Yep.
And you clearly say that you were on Ronson and you were pretty convinced about it. So it was like maybe he saw something, and I think it went pretty much Ronson's way, man, early on, and he looked really good, like I said. But yeah, Silva at a certain moment found the switch, and he finished the fight.
Yep.
So good for Silva. He saved his career pretty much in the UFC. This was a lose down fight, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Brandon Allen defeats Christoph Jocko by submission. I didn't see this coming. Like I thought it'd be a close fight, like a decision. I didn't see a first round finish coming. Great win for Brandon Allen, man. What do you think about this one?
I love Brandon Allen, man. I think he's a cool dude, and I like his southern accent always. He's like really that kind of dude with his Shafkat hat on. He got
Yeah,
from
that was
Shafkat.
funny. I like that.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, these two were a little bit of beefing before the fight. Jotko or Allen said like he ducked him for 2 or 3 times, and Jotko was like, I send him back to the how do you say that? To where it's like in the south where you have a lot of crocodiles in that. How do you say that?
Say it one more time.
In the south, where you have many crocodiles. In
Florida?
No, you got a lot of I don't know the right terminology for that in English, but I sent him back to the south. He said something, but he's a stupid kid from there. He said so. Was a fun fight. The swamp. That's it. The swamp. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I sent him back to the swamps where he's a stupid kid from the swamps. That's what he said. So yeah, I think Allen looked good in this fight, man, and I was happy to see it because I think he's a good talent, but still is a raw talent. He can still have a lot of how do you say that? He can still learn a lot. I think he's a good fighter, and I respect actually that he called out Andre Muniz after the fight. That's a tough fight, And after that, I think he also said Anthony Hernandez would be okay as well. I also like that would be a rematch, right? So yeah. I like what I saw from him and from Jotko. Kind of disappointed, man, what Jotko showed. I think early on he had control, but he lost control pretty quick, and Allen took over and won the fight. He finished it. Thanks, guys, for filling me in, by the way.
What about the
swamp?
Yeah. Allen and Hernandez fought in LFA. Is that where they fought? Yeah, in LFA, the 5-round fight.
The title, yeah.
All right. Yeah. I like the fluffy match too, man. I think it's a fun fight, And again, that was in LFA. It was 6 years ago or whatever. Or sorry, not 6, 4. I just looked right now. Chelsea Chandler, we both called this one, Marcel, right? We both called this underdog. I'm not gonna lie, that first second of the fight where she gets taken down, her arm grabbed. I'm like, oh shit, and then just smashed the girl. Just an absolute beatdown. What are you gonna say? And what are your thoughts, man? Go ahead.
Julia, somebody said it on Twitter, and I agree. Julia is really like an old kind of style girl who has one trick up on her sleeve, and that's the armbar. Yeah. And if she doesn't get the armbar, she got against Jessie Jess.
Yeah,
she's fucked. She's fucked. And Chandler did well. She did what she had to do. 209 will be proud. Good win.
Yep.
And yeah, we both expected her to win.
Yep.
Also got to talk about, man. We missed that Jessica Penne not fighting Tabitha Ricci.
Yeah, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to that one, because I like Tabitha a lot.
Me too. So, she's great, man. I think I was going to bet on her. I was disappointed when that got canceled, but I thought she was going to win. But yeah, Chandler looked good. And the last fight, Marcel, first opening the card. Did I not say don't trust this guy? Do not trust Randy Costa. I was so close to pulling the trigger and Guido, I just couldn't because again he's 42. But Randy Costa is just not UFC caliber, guys. Like I know he's got a couple wins in the UFC, but he really isn't there. Like he's not like consistent enough to be in the UFC. Guido Canelli, don't look down. 42 years old, 2 straight wins. They were talking about him retiring before the fight, but he goes in there and gets a second straight win over a guy who's like 15 years younger than him. Good win for Guido, man. Good for him and gets a bonus too. Happy for the dude. What are your thoughts, man?
Beautiful leg sweep, beautiful back take, and beautiful finish. What can you say? It was beautiful. Well done. And the funny, I got to tell this, man. After this fight, Adam DM'd me. He's like, damn, dude, I should have went with Canelo.
Yeah, I was so
I called
close.
Back. So I said to Adam, yeah, man, you suck. And I was like, no, I'm just kidding.
I was so close to picking him last week. I should have. It's just that, again, I'm trying to stay away from the 40-plus fighters, but occasionally they do win. They do win once in a while, and this was a fight where Randy Costa, again, just kind of like I don't know, Marcel. He's just very breakable. Like, if things are not going his way, he breaks. Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to get cut. He can be exciting, but, man, he's getting cut. Guido Canelli versus Raul Rosas Jr. So it's 42 versus 18. He's 80, I think he's 18 today, right? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
I think it's his birthday today, if I'm not mistaken. I want to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, my bad. Sorry, it's on the 8th, so that's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Too bad they couldn't get
this
the
week.
fight at age 17. Huh? What?
This week.
Yeah. Costa's choice of figure. I thought the mustache was funny. Chris Moutinho. You know what? Does it make sense? Chris Moutinho versus Randy Costa in CS because they're both the last 2 opponents that Guido's finished, and they're both from that area, right?
Yeah.
You know what? It makes sense. 5-round bantamweight title fight for CES or Cage Titans or something.
Yeah,
all right.
CS champ, is it not that Ashik gym guy?
Yeah, that guy got knocked out last week. We'll talk about him as well. Actually, yeah, we'll talk about that on this as well, Marcel.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? We can go to Contender Series next.
What between 1 and 10? What would you give your car?
Yeah, we always ask each other that, right?
Let me go first. I give it a 6.
Okay, I was thinking like a 7 because I thought the prelims were like really good, and then the main card kind of dragged down a little bit. Some of the fights,
yeah.
But I don't know. That Castaneda Santos fight was amazing too. 7 overall, but the prelims were like a 10 probably, or like a 9 because the TV fight takes a full point off. You have to, right? Because
I gave it a 7 for the prelims and a 5 for the main card, so that's why I got a 6.
Totally fair. All right, let's go to Contender Series recap, guys. We'll do that now. Last Contender Series of the year, Marcel. We're going to talk about this right now.
Put it on screen, brother. Put it on screen.
Let me pull up here. All right, found it. There we go. All right.
Beautiful.
10. All right. Well, again, 5 more contracts, right?
Yeah.
All deserved. 5 more finishes. Yeah. We'll start with the first fight. Yeah, Mendonça looked amazing. Like, just a quick knockout, 48 seconds. Very, very fast. Your boy Regime got destroyed, bro. My God. Like, his chin, I don't understand. Like, this guy looks like a killer in his wins, and then he gets knocked out by Chris Moutinho, and this guy just devastating fashion. So
I was happy Mendonça fought, man, because he reminded me that I had to get some Monster Ultra Blue from the store next day.
He looked outstanding.
He looked really good, really good. Yeah. Beautiful knockout. And he actually knocked him out with that second punch where he was actually going in and falling. Because the first punch he staggered him, but the second punch he knocked him out with, and then he got like already flat to the ground, and he got a third one over it. Yeah, beautiful performance, man. Still undefeated.
You look great, man. Welcome addition to the roster at 135. Rafael Esteban.
It was a crazy fight.
Yeah, it was a good fight. I think he destroyed the guy. I mean, he looked great too. Welcome to the UFC. This guy as well. I'm sure you were impressed, eh?
I added that Elias guy went for crazy subs in the early stage of the fight, but Esteban did really well, got over it, and Elias was like almost like, how do you say that? He was like gassing a little bit more, and Esteban looked good, and he finished the fight. So yeah, great finish, well-deserved contract as well.
Yeah, agreed. Jack Jenkins, he looked great against Linares, gets the finish in the 3rd round. I wasn't sure if he got the finish, right? There's 30 seconds left, though, when he got it. Go ahead.
If he didn't got the finish, he wasn't not going to get signed. So I'm happy he got the finish, and I think he deserved it.
It seemed like Dana was on the fence about his performance when based on the comments, when he gets the win. Sam Patterson, Venetia Sensi looked good in the first round, actually, but got really tired there, and then Patterson submitted him. He gets a contract. Welcome to the UFC.
What Sam Patterson was doing not that smart in the first round. He's good on the ground, but he was striking a lot with him.
Yeah.
I was like, take it to the ground, dude. You're better there. And he did. He got the win. Beautiful.
Bo Nickal defeats John Beer. I mean, no surprise. I called the submission again. Yeah, I mean, the fight was going to go to the ground always against this guy, and it was nice. So he gets the win. 52 seconds, gets the UFC deal. He's going to be, one of the better middleweights in the world for years to come. So welcome addition to the roster. I mean, overall, it was a strong card. Yeah, I mean, Dodson is really good, man. He looks great. Let's just do Bellator really quick as well, guys.
For sure, man. For sure.
Let's see Bellator 286. Did you watch it?
I saw parts of it, not all. So I had to write a recap for UFC. So when I was done, co-main event was starting.
I got a chance to watch the main card, just because obviously UFC was on at the same time. It's just hard to balance everything. So watched that and then I switched over. But I was paying attention because I saw the leg break on Twitter. Let's just go through it. By the way, they had a post on this fight with Diggs, the fight after the main card. Man, Pitbull. Did you watch Pitbull Borch? It was not very good. Not that great of a fight. Borch had a horrible performance.
Yeah.
Going for these naked flying knees, like not saying them up.
48-47.
Horrible scorecard. I mean, just a terrible scorecard. And someone messaged me and they were like, because I was like, this is bullshit, right? And they were like, well, Sherdog also had that scorecard. I'm like, okay, well, that's not really like a great thing. No offense. Those guys I have no issue with those guys, but there's sometimes I disagree with their scores a lot, to be honest with you. 50-45 for me. Marcel, like this to me, it was a one-sided fight. Any thoughts? Because Pitbull did what he had to do. The crowd was booing. I don't blame Pitbull. I thought Borch looked terrible, though. Any thoughts?
Yeah, but obviously the crowd was booing. The crowd is in favor of AJ McKee, so they will boo Pitbull out of the arena. Yeah, I mean Pitbull did well. I think didn't do amazing or whatever, but he fought well. He fought he did what he had to do, and I think Boric had a chance to do something and didn't do a lot. So or didn't do the right thing. Let's put it that way. And yeah, good win for Pitbull. And looking forward next for him. Probably. I don't know what they're gonna do, man. Will AJ come back to 145 to fight Pitbull?
Maybe. I mean, it's possible, but they do that tournament next year. We'll go to the next fight now. Yeah, they said there's maybe a lightweight tournament. So, anyways, AJ McKee defeats Spike Carlisle decision. Great fight. First round was crazy. Spike Carlisle, man, what a fun guy to watch. Oh, like very hard to finish too. Like very durable. Gave AJ McKee a very tough fight. McKee though, like that's the win in his lightweight debut. Proves to 19-1. What a great fighter he is. Just an awesome fight. They don't give up bonuses, but if they did, this would be fight of the night. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, it was a fun fight. Spike is crazy. And Spike will forward. You get a crazy fight with him if he fights, and I think that's actually a perfect fight for McKee to see how he does in the 155, right?
Right.
So, and he won, so he did well. And Spike is a fun fighter to watch. I like the fight a lot, and I agree with you. This probably would have been fight of the night, although I didn't saw all fights, so maybe I can't say that. But
right.
Yeah, from what I saw, should be fight of the night.
Jeremy Kennedy picks up big upset over Aaron Pico by shoulder injury. So I mean, like he got the win, but it wasn't like legit. Like he didn't finish him per se. But I mean, geez, that was a nasty shoulder injury. And man, I saw him point to it right away when I'm watching the fight. I'm like, shit. I'm like, I think he's hurt. And man, it's just crazy with Pico. Like he's so talented, but like the losses he's had are kind of crazy, right? And this one was nuts. His arm was like basically falling off his body. His coaches is like trying to get it to pop back in. You guys saw the clip. Excuse me. That was crazy. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, that clip. What the hell, dude? That coach.
Brad Gibson. I maybe he fucked it up more now. Like,
right? If you know how to do it, do it. But if you don't know how to do it, don't do it. It
didn't look like he knew how to do it either.
Man.
No. Like they were saying like, oh, he's done this so many times, and I'm like, wait,
he was yanking it. You got to do it like a click thing. You know what I mean? But he was yanking it. It looked really bad actually, and I think Kennedy called out. Your boy, Pedro Carvalho, after the fight.
Yeah.
It's a good fight for him, I think. I think he wants to avenge Matt Burnell, his teammate. So
I think he'll win that fight too.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, like you said. But Pico, man, just like crazy. And then Josh Thompson, they were asking, like, what did you think, Josh? And he goes, oh, the doctor should let him keep fighting. This guy's battled through injuries like this before. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The bias on the Bellator broadcast team is so bad. I don't hate Bellator. I like them. Actually, the people behind it are amazing.
Yeah.
But the bias is so bad. You always know who they want to win. It's so bad. I really listen. These two, Big John and Josh Thompson comparing to DC and Rogan. DC and Rogan are amazing. You know what I mean? And I think DC and Rogan aren't that great anymore in the UFC as commentators, But compared to these two, this elite level commentating. You know
I
what
don't
I
know why I
mean?
think
It's
John so
great.
much, but I Josh Thompson, I mean,
Listen,
he's teammates with Pico, right? He's clearly biased.
brother, Big John, amazing referee, did so much for the sport,
Mhm.
But as a commentator, man, you know,
Fair enough. I
not
think
not
most
not
people agree with you. I don't mind him so much, but I know what you're saying. March let look great against Enrique Brazil. Great fight too. This one, Marcel, he gets the win, and then I mean, it was a catchweight fight, but I think it still puts him in a good spot at 135,
yeah,
right, going forward.
for sure. I mean, Barcela's a tough
Yeah,
SOB, so
yeah, agreed. And then prelims, most of the favorite, actually all the favorites won except. Well, I want to say my boy JJ Wilson went back at the win call. Marcel, I still like this kid. I think he's really talented. He gets the win here, split decision. Your guy
I got,
Mirzacali of Marcel gets a knockout.
yeah, I got to say something, and I said it also on the
Uh-huh.
Bellator Zone podcast. Sumiko Inaba,
Mm-hmm.
she is talented, but can we stop giving her a 2-5 opponent and
I know.
Nadine
We're a joke
Bandio?
of this fight. Now she's 2-6. We're a joke of a fight,
And
eh?
and the funny thing is, both girls fought before in the amateur scene, and she knocked her out in the first minute.
Sumiko?
Yeah, she knocked Mandiel out. So
Yeah, I
why do
didn't
we have to
notice
see
that.
this fight again?
Yeah, I just figured she'd win just because it's Bellator. There was one upset in the first fight. I mean, if you have money on Palencia, that sucks, right? Because he was
Yeah,
winning the fight. He won the first round, then he breaks his leg. It is what it is, right? It's
horrible.
sports, right? TJ Hamilton picks up a big win here, but I mean, it's not like a legit win again.
It's almost like nothing against CJ Hamilton like to do it, but if you
Yeah.
win like that, it's always like I wouldn't count it as a win. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I mean, it goes down as a TKO, but like, is that
Yeah,
It's not like you're gonna 20 years from now, people are like, "What did you accomplish?" You're like, "Oh, I knocked out Richard Palencia." Like, you're not gonna say that.
yeah,
That was a nasty leg break, though. It reminded me of Anderson and Weidman, man. That's what it reminded me of.
yeah.
Also,
Our
Lance Gibson in the
Corey Hill,
PC.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Our,
Corey
our,
Hill. My boy Lance Gibson Jr. Marcel. So this is Julia Budd's stepson. It is, right?
yeah, he is,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's crazy, eh?
yeah.
So good for him, Canadian
By the
guy.
way, want to give my best wishes to the dude, man, who broke his leg, Palencia. I mean,
That's
I
just
think we
brutal.
both, yeah.
Oh, 100%. Wilson and Tokov's fight. Yeah, for sure. I like JJ Wilson, man. I think he's really talented.
Yes, he just finally in the weight class where he should fight, because he couldn't make weight anymore at the other weight class,
For sure.
145. So
All right, we'll take a couple more questions. You guys have them. If not, we're gonna stop this podcast for the recap, and then we'll start a new one just for fighting announcements. Completely optional if you guys are enjoying that. We'll start another one in a minute. But if there's any other questions, we'll take them. Marcel, anything quickly? Was there any other quick? Go ahead.
I want in the next podcast. I also want your thoughts about the kickboxing fight between Overeem and Badahari, which will happen on Saturday.
Sure, that sounds good to me. LFA 143. Yeah, we could talk about that really quick too if you wanted to. Not a bad
I
idea.
haven't seen it. Not
Didn't
gonna
get a
lie.
chance to check it out, but we can look at the results together. It's just so much MMA going on. It's hard to watch it all. Let me pull this up though. Up here. So no surprise, really. Bruno Lopez and Gabriela Fernandez. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I did do like some research on this card and both big favorites here. This was a Brazil one too, Marcel. This
Yeah,
one.
what's the name of the Paiva dude? What's that? Willie and Edson?
Yeah,
Oh my
William
god. Okay,
Knudsen.
Willie and Edson.
So good, like a lot of talented. Oh, this is a big upset here. Gabriel Silva lost.
To Kaya
That's
Mahara.
Eric's brother, right? So he
Yeah.
lost. Yeah, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to check it out, John. But I mean, again, I did do some research, and I had a feeling these two favorites would win. Both talented fighters, and I would guess Bruno Lopez gets into the UFC or Contender Series, right? He's 11-0 now, LFA champion. Would you think like next Contender Series possibly for this guy?
Yeah, possible. Yeah, for sure.
And even her too. If honestly, if you go to the LFA and win a belt, you're probably gonna go to the UFC. If not, you go to Bellator, right? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna get signed by a big organization. Yeah, it's true. Jose Delano too. He'll go to UFC probably at some point. How did Jason Willis do, Marcel? I know he lost. How did he perform? Jason Willis.
Bad. You can, if you want, can you put the card on? It's LFL 6. He got out wrestled by a guy for three rounds. Jason Willis, former Glory kickboxing champion, he's transitioning to MMA. He got out grappled for 3 rounds against a guy. So there's actually a fun story there, man. I don't know if you know Martel Grunart. He's also a former Glory kickboxing champion, and he was supposed to fight a Polish guy who was 1-0 or 2-0. He himself was 2-0. So the Polish guy didn't show up. He showed up at the weigh-ins, but he didn't show up at the event. They called the hotel. He wasn't at the hotel. His girlfriend was still there. His luggage was still there, but he was nowhere to be found.
Right.
So Martel thought, I don't have a fight going on this time. But then Hiram Rodriguez, which is a Dutch guy, was in the crowd, apparently. And they asked him, like, dude, do you want to fight Martel? And Hiram normally fights at featherweight or lightweight, and this was welterweight. And he was like, sure, I fall in. So he fell in for him. He clearly won the fight, or Martel, but 3 rounds, no finish. He couldn't finish the dude. So big shout out to Hiram Rodriguez. Was right before the co-main event.
Mhm.
That was it. And he has a bad record, but if you look at who he fought almost every European legit fighter, which which is there. So I mean,
Jesus, yeah, he has too, eh? This guy.
I remember he fought Jarno Arons for the first time in Belgium, and I asked him, like, when do you fight again? He's like, oh, next week. So I was like, next week. So I'm looking, and that was Saladin Parnas. He was going to fight the week after. It's crazy. You know?
That's wild. All right, that's cool. I'll close that. This gets the last couple of comments, guys. We'll switch. We'll end the stream. The Trinaldo still fight was fun. That's awesome. I didn't get a chance to see it, but interested. Glad to hear that you were interested in it and enjoyed it, John. All right, Marcel, let's plug our stuff and we'll get out of here and we'll start another podcast, guys. Just for fight announcements and stuff, if you want, it's completely optional. And I'll just say, like, before we get out of here, next Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, we'll do the preview for UFC Vegas 62, Grasso Arujo. So join us then. If not, join us in a couple minutes here. We'll start the new one up. Marcel, just plug your stuff really quick. We'll get out of here.
Yeah, I want to say to John and also to the other people who are watching, if there is a fight we haven't seen and you think we definitely should check it out, always say it in the comments. So we have something to watch with these weeks off, you know.
Yep.
My Big Marcel 24 Twitter, Instagram, and Eurosport.nl mixed martial arts section. Still the same.
Yep. I'm Adam Martin on Twitter, podcast@MMAOB.com. Make sure to subscribe, guys. Tell your friends about it. Always the more the merrier in the comments. We love it. So appreciate it. Like I said, we'll start the new podcast up. But if not, we'll see you guys next week. Appreciate it, Marcus, in the comments. Thanks, buddy. Thanks so much, man. All right, guys. I'll see you in a few minutes. If not, again, we'll see you next week for the breakdown of UFC Vegas 62. Excuse me. Peace.